Hey book besties, welcome to my November reading wrap up. You guys know the drill. Today we're going to be going through the 6 books that I've read in the month of November. I feel like I had a pretty good reading month, to be honest. I read quite a few good books. The lowest rated book that I read was 3 stars, which I still enjoyed as well. So I would say that's a pretty good reading month. And I also got to finally finish a series that I've been reading throughout the year. So that was great. Anyways, let's get into talking about the books that I read in November. Please let me know if you guys have read any of these books and what your thoughts were as well, because I would love to know. But let's jump right into it. First book we're going to be talking about is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is the first book in the Maple Hills series. It's set in a college setting. We're following Anastasia, who's a figure skater, and Nate, who is a hockey player, and it is sort of an enemies to lovers, but like not really. Reverse Grumpy Sunshine trope. I love a good ice hockey romance. You guys already know, so I was hooked in right away. So in this book, the figure skaters and the hockey players are actually forced to share a rink together, and neither of the parties are happy about it at all, because they do actually have separate rinks, but then something happens to the hockey players' rinks and now they're forced to share the same rink as the figure skaters, and no one's happy about it, especially Anastasia. And Anastasia is very type A personality, needs everything planned to the minute, and I feel like that is something I can definitely relate to, because I'm very much like that as well. Anastasia's figure skater partner gets injured, and Nate, who is the absolute golden retriever of a book boyfriend, decides to help Anastasia out and be her partner for her figure skating competition, because that has been her entire dream. Guys, I have not read a contemporary romance where book couples communicate so well, and this couple does communication perfectly. There is no miscommunication at all, nothing but respect between these two characters, which I know it's like the bare minimum, but like in books, I feel like there's so much miscommunication. These two characters, nothing like that. They're one of the healthiest book couples that I've read about. And this book also tackles a lot of other important topics regarding mental health, anxiety, depression, panic attacks, diet culture. All of that stuff is written so well in this book. This book also has a sense of found family as well, and I love found family in books, and I just love this world. I loved the side characters, and this is a series, so you get the other side characters books as well, and I'm like so excited for them because I loved all the guys in the hockey team. Like, they were everything, and I'm so excited that we get to see all of their books coming out as well. But this was just so good. Probably one of my favorite ice hockey romances ever. So good, so worth the hype. And also the spice in this book, phenomenal, so good. Don't let the cute cartoon cover fool you, because the spice, I don't even know. So good, so good. Just please read this if you haven't already, because it's amazing. I finally finished the Twisted series. I read both Twisted Hate and Twisted Lies in the month of November, and both of these were 4.5 star reads for me, and I'm so happy about them. Honestly, these were both 5-star predictions. They were close to being 5 stars, but they did not give me the 5-star feeling, hence why they are 4.5 star reads for me. First, let's talk about Twisted Hate, which is Jules and Josh's story. If you guys don't know, the Twisted series is an interconnected standalone series. We follow 4 girls across 4 books and their individual love stories, and Twisted Hate is Jules and Josh's story, and it's enemies with benefits to lovers, and this is enemies to lovers in a contemporary romance done correctly. A lot of the time when it comes to contemporary romances, the enemies to lovers is just like acquaintances or just like some kind of miscommunication trope in there. This one, done so well. Spice, top tier, so good. We love a good enemies with benefits to lovers situation, like so freaking good. So many good plot twists. Oh my goodness, I loved this book. I also really loved seeing Jules's past, especially because from the first 2 books you don't really get to know too much about Jules, except for her being like this flirty, wild sort of character, but you get to see more depth to her character in this story, and it was just so good. I adored this book. 4.5 stars. And then Twisted Lies, also 4.5 stars. This is following Stella and Christian. It's got the fake dating trope. Stella is also a fashion influencer, which I really enjoyed reading that aspect. There's also journal entries in this book as well, because Stella does like to journal. She's very spiritual, which I found really interesting aspect of her character. I love this couple, honestly. Stella and Christian, Reese and Bridget are still my favorite, but Stella and Christian are a close second. I loved them, and I also really related a lot to Stella in the sense of she's very much like an overthinker, perfectionist, people pleaser. Like I could relate a lot to Stella. She's probably the most relatable character out of all the 4 girls in my opinion. So really enjoyed this book. 4.5 stars. The epilogue as well, I loved the epilogue. The epilogue was so good. I adored this book, so good. I finally did it, guys. I read A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. Your girl finally started the ACOTAR series after everyone has been raving on about it, telling me I need to read it. Finally read it at last. So ACOTAR is a romantasy, a fantasy romance. I feel like everyone already knows what this book is about, but we follow our main character Feyre, who is a hunter. She's immortal, so she's human, and she actually kills a wolf. And little does she know that wolf is actually part of this fairy world. No, it's not like the typical, you know, the little cute fairies like in Peter Pan. No, like they're actual booktok fairies. It's the best way I can explain it. And as basically like a punishment, this high fae lord comes and takes Feyre away over to his fae world for her to basically live there forever. And there is romance in this, of course. I'm not gonna lie, the first 50 to 60% of this book did feel really dragged on, and I was really struggling, and I was like, oh no. I was like actually freaking out because a lot of people were just like, so good. But I don't know, I feel like that's always the case when you first start a fantasy book, especially as someone who is predominantly a romance reader. But after I got through the 60% mark, it got really good. It got so interesting. I definitely got a lot more invested as the story progressed, and the way that this book ended sets up so well for the second book that I cannot wait to pick that one up. That's actually on my December TBR, so fingers crossed I do get to it. But I decided to rate A Court of Thorns and Roses 3 stars. I know, I feel like, I don't know if a lot of people will agree with me on that. It is just purely due to the fact that it did take me quite a while to get into this book. It took me like basically the entire month to read this book because I did struggle with it a lot. It is easy to follow along though, I will say that, but like for the first like 50%, like I said, it was a little bit of a struggle town to get into. But yeah, 3 stars, which is definitely not a bad rating either. Like 3 stars is like mid, and everyone's told me that Akamath, which is the second book, is like the best book in the series, so I'm definitely keen to get onto that. Then I did a reread. I read It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. This is the exclusive collector's edition, so it's got this really nice pink cover. So I read It Ends With Us, I think back in 2021, so I really wanted to do a reread because I was just so adamant about reading the sequel before the end of 2023, and I did do that. So obviously I reread It Ends With Us, and this book honestly hit me more the second time reading it, which was really interesting. It was so interesting to actually read it for the second time, knowing what actually happens throughout the book. Like I picked up on so many red flags that I didn't the first time I read it, which was so interesting, to be honest. And I rated this one, first time reading it, I rated it 5 stars. Second time reading it, I rated it 5 stars again. I honestly really enjoyed it, and I honestly just, it was just so good. I mean, is it the greatest book of all time? No, but it gave me the feels, and it's a book that honestly did get me onto reading again as an adult, so 5 stars. Then of course read the sequel, It Starts With Us. I feel like this was the perfect like extended epilogue, but I will say if you weren't a huge fan or super invested into Lily's story in It Ends With Us, you probably wouldn't want to pick up It Starts With Us. But for me, being super invested in their story made me want to read this book, so this felt like a cozy extended epilogue, happily ever after kind of vibe. Did this book really need to be written? No, but did I enjoy it? Yes. So I rated this one 4 stars. I really just enjoyed seeing how Lily's life ended up to be, and just seeing her happily ever after just really gives you closure as a reader if you are super invested into Lily's story. Okay, so those were all 6 books that I read in the month of November. I feel like I actually went through that pretty quickly, but if you guys want to see my December TBR, aka the last monthly TBR of 2023, that is already up on my channel, so go check that out. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Please let me know, as I said, if you read any of these books, what your thoughts were, and give this video a huge thumbs up. Also subscribe to my channel down below. I post new videos every single week, and I do plan on hoping to post a few fun videos in December, so stay tuned and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!